What's going on, guys? It's your boy Coop here. And I wanted to drop in with a story. It's my 21st birthday, and instead of relaxing, I needed to do a video because I'm a workaholic. And I want to regale you guys with the tale of a wiffleball game. I want to regale you guys with the tale of a wiffleball game that took place in a gym that's half the size of an Olympic swimming pool. And there's a lesson to be taken from this that I think is important, or rather a few lessons that can be taken from this. I'll tell you guys at the end of the video what those are, but it's something that I've never forgotten, like ever forgotten. So in wiffleball, for anyone that doesn't know, all of the stuff essentially in the game is played with plastic, right? Plastic bat, plastic ball, plastic bases. The entire thing is basically a Dollar Tree version of baseball. And me being one of the two groups in PE, which is basically it's two groups of competitive kids, right? The competitive kids that aren't good at sports but still try their hardest, and the kids that are good at sports and are also very competitive. Both equally annoying, I'd say, looking back, but I fell into the first column. I was the group where they weren't good at sports, but they were still competitive. I was good at some sports, but baseball and wiffleball, definitely not my alley. I feel like I should illustrate this point. I am the kid, in essence, in a basketball game that plays ass the entire time and then hits the game winner. Does that make any sense to anyone listening? So I am in spirit that kid. And I was nothing short of that kid the previous game. Now, the way we do it is we had gym every Thursday. So we have these, I guess it's like, we would have these units, they were called, where we'd play individual sports. We had like volleyball, wiffle ball. We had yoga, which was whack. It was either your choices were you could either play yoga or dance or just dance or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But we had these units, and we were on the wiffle ball unit. We'd spend about 2 weeks per unit. So we were about, I'd say, probably like a week into it. You figure, yeah, you get one Thursday, and then it was going to be the next Thursday, the last Thursday of wiffle ball, that I'd be up again. And that previous Thursday, I had nothing short of an all-star outing. I'd gone on for about 7 strikeouts, a couple of pickoffs, like 5 runs batted in, 3 home runs. I mean, I was like the bat was just cracking. It was nothing short of phenomenal, the performance that I had put forward. And so a lot of the Stephen A. Smiths in my school that, again, aren't good at sports, but those kids, I guess I kind of fall into that now. The kids that wanted to talk about stuff rather than actually do it, a lot of people like them were saying that, I couldn't replicate my performance that I had the previous week. And that kind of spurred up a lot of interest. A lot of people wanted to see if I could be as prolific as I was in front of the plate and I guess behind the plate as I was the previous week. So naturally, this next wiffle ball game, this drew in a lot of spectators. A lot of kids skipped class, came down to watch. It looked like when KD played at Rucker Park. So we had this gigantic ass crowd in the small ass gymnasium, and one thing that the kids had not informed me of was the fact that our gym teacher, who again, if we're talking about people falling into certain stereotypes, you have the 2 different types of gym teachers. You have the gym teachers that wear the fupa shirts and the cargo pants, out of shape, and you have the ones that probably coach the wrestling team, the football team, the lacrosse team, and the soccer team all at once, are ripped, used to be athletes, would have made it to the league if they didn't blow out their knee, that whole thing. That was a gym teacher I had, and he was pitching to me that game. So that raises a lot of questions naturally. A lot of kids want to know if I'm going to be able to replicate that performance with now a 50-year-old guy that has quads the size of my arms at the time and calves that were probably also larger than my arms, I'd say. But just an athletic specimen up there. I'd say he was probably closer to Shohei Ohtani than I was at the time. So the game's going great. I have most of the athletic kids that are competitive but can play on my team. So I'm doing pretty well. I'm feeling good. But I'm really nervous for when I get up to the plate because that's where I shined the last time, right? I mean, I was just hitting them out of the park. We had a certain height on the wall where if you hit it above that height, it's weird that I remember this with this much detail, but I'm just keep going. You had a certain height on the wall where if you hit it above that, that means it was a home run. And so I kept just like soaring it over there, 550 easily. If there wasn't a wall there, it would have kept going and going and going, and it probably would have hit the parking lot. And I was on the other side of the school. That's where we were. So that's how hard I was hitting these balls. And so I was nervous about replicating that performance from the Thursday prior. And I finally get up to the plate, right? It was about 20 minutes into a 45 to an hour minute gym period. And I'm up there, right? And all the kids are lined up and everyone's waiting with bated breath, right? The gymnasium got deadly quiet. And that made it worse, if I'm being quite honest. Because I was just in there with my own thoughts, and this hulking behemoth of a man in front of me, ready to throw. I mean, he was throwing curveballs, Uffis pitches. I'm pretty sure, I don't know how this is possible, but he pitched in the upper 90s with a wiffle ball. And I'm not going to lie, guys, it was competitive at bat, right? I was fouling him off. I was looking at balls. I was, swinging when a swing was needed. I was holding back when holding back was needed. And I finally get it to a 3-2 count, right? And the gymnasium now, there have been some more activity. Oh, yeah, let's go, Coop. Yeah. Everyone had been supporting me, or, Tarkenton was the guy's name, had been supporting Tarkenton. There were two sides, and so during this competitive at-bat, must have been about 10 pitches. Everyone was going back and forth, right? You had the fans of him, you had the fans of me, and it gets down to this last pitch. And I remember sitting there being like, all right, listen, for this one, doesn't matter what comes, I'm swinging out of my shoes. So he winds up, and I'm ready, and I see the ball, and this pitch had to have been the hardest curveball. And I mean, I watch baseball from time to time, and that's how I knew this guy was must have been a D1 prospect pitcher, because this guy had a mean curveball. This guy hits me with probably the worst curveball I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking about for me, like his curveball was immaculate. And I swing out of my shoes. I did the swing where, for anyone that watches baseball, your knee hits the floor. You tear a muscle in your back as you're going down. I do that type of swing. Catcher gets it. That's the final out. That's the final strike. It ends the inning, right? And we were also tied to make it worse. You guys aren't going to believe me, but that's really what happened. Sounds like I'm just adding shit on as I'm going on to just make it more pressure. No, this was really a high pressure situation. And so I had this kid for the longest time, this arch nemesis. I don't view him as that anymore. I just view him as a part of an old chapter in my life. But an arch nemesis back then, nonetheless. Kid's walking up, he's jogging back, which doesn't make sense because, again, the gymnasium is the size of half of an Olympic swimming pool. This kid walks up to me, gives me 2 pats on the shoulder, looks me dead in the eyes, and I'll never forget this for as long as I live. He goes, "This is why I know you'll never achieve anything in life." And I just remember this kid staring daggers at me right after he said it. I just froze. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say. Because what do you say to that? What realistic comeback can you have to a kid telling you that you're going to be a bum? There's nothing you could say to that. Up until this point, I really hadn't had any ambition, any drive, any will to do anything. I was out of shape, and I went home that night, and I just kept what that kid said to me in my head. And that night, I made the decision to become so successful, to become so prolific that kid's words would never hold any weight. After that, I started hitting the gym. I started getting in shape. I started actively finding my passion. It took me a few years, but I found it. It's this. I come back to that now on my 21st because I think there's a few lessons that people can take from this. The first being that some people just want to see you fail. It didn't matter if I homered. It didn't matter if I doubled or singled or tripled or struck out or fouled off and kept on hitting. That kid would have found something else or something along those lines to get that line off. The second lesson should be that you should never use someone solely as motivation. But it can be proof that those words can go on to inspire someone, light the fire under their ass, to be great. Because I don't do it for that kid anymore. I do it for me now. But for a while, that's what got me going. And the third lesson being that you should be thankful for those people. As bad as it seems at the time, those people are a key part of your journey. Now, if you've ever been bullied, if you've ever been talked down on, I feel as though everyone has. This video is for you specifically. Use it as fire. Don't use it to get unmotivated. Don't use it to slow you down. Use it to speed you up. Use it to turn yourself into a fucking savage, right? Also, strike the balance. Don't just, again, do it for that person. Do it for yourself after a while. I look back and I realize now it's like that was a wiffleball game. The Olympic level stretch that kid made that I would amount to nothing in life based off of the fact that I struck out in a wiffleball game seems pretty ridiculous now. So if I had to say anything on my 21st birthday, sitting here reminiscing, it would be that you should use those times when you look back on them as fuel. Forgive yourself, and then use that to look forward, and use it to even look into the present and see how far you've come, you know? The new me would never have taken that. You know, the old me would have. But I have a lot more confidence now. So for anyone that's going through it, take those as words of wisdom. Don't use them if you don't want to. I can't control what you do, but I do love doing these videos. So let me know if you want to see more in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much. This has been Coop checking in from his birthday. I'll probably hit you guys with another podcast sometime soon, but I'm taking a little break. You know, I'm not even supposed to be doing this today. So I'll see you guys in the next one. It's your boy, the Jewish Jawline, Soundboy God. Until the next time.